Okay, Corky,
Yes.
thank you. And if you could just lean in just a little bit, I think we're ready to go here. Welcome to everyone to Check the Gate, one-on-one with the Northeast Filmmakers Lab. I'm Mike Camoin. I'll be your host today. Check the Gate is a weekly series hosted by Capital Cinema Cultural Exchange, a charitable nonprofit organization that empowers emerging filmmakers to complete and present their projects in a rapidly changing media landscape by leveraging world-class industry expertise through the Northeast Filmmakers Lab. Special thanks to today's sponsors, Price Chopper, Market 32. Not just in your neighborhood, we're your neighbor. Albany Wine and Dine for the Arts, providing sustainable funding for the support and preservation of the not-for-profit arts community in Albany, New York, through its annual 3-day Food and Wine Fest every January. Corky, if you're ever back here in Albany, I'll take you to it. It's 3 days of food and wine, and it's just, I'm still trying to lose the pounds that I gained back in January. And by Crew Me Up, building a digital community for filmmakers to connect, create, and collaborate. Check the Gate. For those who don't know the term, comes from shooting on film. The DP will check the lens to make sure there are no impurities that would impact the last take. If the gate is good, production moves on. So let's move on. Today's guest, Corky Kessler, entertainment attorney from Chicago, Illinois, with the Rubenstein Law Firm. Corky, first I want to just ask, how are you doing?
I am doing great. I'm working from home like a lot of other people do, and I'm waiting to have this thing over.
Yeah, we all are. It's really hit all of us, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been pretty bad in Chicago.
I forget exactly when we met. I want to say 2009 over the phone, perhaps sooner. I know we met in person at Cannes in 2013. You invited me to your party. Back in 2004, my company was located at the RPI Incubator, and something amazing happened. The New York State Film Tax Credit and the first iteration of Tax Code 181 was created. Let's talk about your background and your work with the federal government.
Well, all right. So it's a very interesting story. Do you want me to go back to 2004, how that first happened?
Yeah, just a brief, if you can keep it brief, that would be great. Obviously, we want to get onto some other stuff, but I think it's interesting.
Well, okay. It started in 2004 under the American Jobs Creation Act of 2004 that President Bush signed into law. 1,500-page document. The 181 section in that document was less than 1 page. No one, and it came out in October of 2004, no one really got it right. The trades got it wrong. So I sent out a blast because I was part and one of the only people that knew exactly how it went, because I've been dealing with all of the formers of the law. And it went on for 4 years. Then it was extended at the end of 2008, and then it's been extended and extended and extended. And the last imagination of the 181 is going to end at the end of this calendar year. But projects can be grandfathered, and when they're grandfathered, they're going to be 181 forever. There's no end date.
So what does that term grandfathered mean? How does a project become eligible?
Okay, to be grandfathered, I'm going to be grandfathering in a lot of projects. You need a screenplay or teleplay. You need 1 day of photography with some dialogue, although you don't have to use it in the film that comes from your screenplay. You need a summary budget, but that can change. And you need the investment documents drafted, but you don't need investors. So it's all fluid and it can change. But once you have all of that, you're fathered forever, but you have to make sure the first tax return that you file for your knows enough about it to elect 181, because you cannot go back to amend your tax return.
So filmmakers out there, what you're saying, if I could summarize what you said, if they are working on a script right now, this is a good time to be writing. They also may want to be thinking about filming one page of dialogue before the end of 2020, and
Yes.
and have someone like yourself who knows how to set up what's called a PPM.
No. Okay. I draft them all. If all your investors are going to be accredited and meet the accreditation standard, you don't need a private placement memorandum, but you need to file the LLC, you need an operating agreement that I draft, you need a subscription agreement that I draft, and you need an investor questionnaire that I draft.
But you don't need an investor.
No, you don't need investors at all. You just need the documents.
You just need the documents. Okay, and so, and obviously with COVID-19, our industry has come to a halt right now.
Yeah, but Mike, as you know, there's a second federal incentive that's now.
Okay.
And that second one is called 168G, and that's under Trump's tax bill. And that says in principal part, the difference from 181 and 168G is 168, there's no limit upon what your budget of the film is and what you spend. On 181, you can only expense up to 15 or 20 million. Under 168G, it doesn't matter. It could be $100 million movie. But the difference is it has to be put in service, TV or film. Mean you have to show it in some medium before the end of 2022, and you get 100% loss. At 2023, it goes to 80% loss. And in 2024, 60%, and then on and on and on. So the difference is it has to be shown. But I tell people, if they miss 181, and even if they have some filming done, they should rent a theater and go out and show it and charge people $1 or $2 so they can say that they put it in display before the end of 2022.
Before the end of 2022.
Right.
And that qualifies you for 186?
No, it qualifies for 168.
Oh, 168?
Right.
I'm going to confuse all these numbers.
Okay, 181, you get the 100% loss when the money is spent. It doesn't have to be shown at all. Just spending it triggers it. And whenever you spend it, once it's grandfathered. And whenever you raise it, when it's grandfathered. Which is better. 168, difference is it has to be shown once. And at the end of the calendar year that it's shown, you get benefit.
Okay, talk a little bit about the benefits, because obviously it's a royally not a good time to be raising money for most causes, except if you're on the front lines. What is there a silver lining in all this for the arts?
Yeah, look. As you know, Mike, when we talked at Sundance, and again, thank you for coming to Sundance.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was fun. It was.
Okay.
It'll be fun again.
Once you get a good state, and you spend your money in one of the 41 states that give money back for spending in the state, and you package it with 181, you could promise your investor a recovery of their money, even if the film is never shown, of 70 to 75 cents on the dollar. No other business can you do that.
So, and I read, or it was an article that you pointed out to us there at Sundance. It came out in January in the LA Times that movies have now moved into the category of a conservative investment.
Pardon?
Movies have moved into that category of a conservative investment because of these returns allowed.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Profit. Whatever taxable income that someone gets for the investment in the film, taxable income, they get a 20% discount. That's under a separate section. So if I return to you, Michael, $1 of profit for your investment in the movie, that's profitable income. You only pay tax on 80 cents.
Okay, so there's a benefit there on the revenue side.
Right. And there's no other business that really gets all of that. It's just it's an unbelievable thing, and I'm amazed since 2004 that wherever I talk, and believe me, I've talked all over the world about the benefits, and it makes it easier to raise money with 181 or even 168. I'm amazed at how many people don't know anything about it still. And then I tell them if they don't know about it, I don't care whether they use it or they don't, but if they don't know about it, they should fire their lawyer and their accountant. And I don't care who they hire, but get rid of them, because the lawyer and accountants are supposed to be able to be ahead of the game.
Exactly. We want to be able to protect our investors and make sure that they're benefiting as much as the law allows. And it's right there, and it's been available. And in some cases, unless you're on a particular stock right now in the stock market, maybe it's an okay thing to invest in film and the arts right now.
Oh yeah, yes. And as you know, Michael, I was very surprised, and I felt very grateful that I was voted by tens of thousands of people as the best entertainment lawyer and best executive producer in the United States.
That's wonderful. I know you've been at the beginning of all of this, and that's why I wanted to start there with your history working with the federal government on this for the last decade or so.
Well, I started, as you know, Michael, doing a lot of theater work, meaning I was the lawyer and executive producer for theater before film. I was the executive producer and lawyer for Driving Miss Daisy, Steel Magnolias, Shirley Valentine, I'm Not Rappaport, Frankie and Johnny. I don't do theater anymore because it doesn't run on business principles. But as you know, that I've been the attorney on 22 movies. If people look at IMDb Pro, you'll see all the movies that I've been involved with, except some that didn't make it yet.
Well, I know you're the guy when it comes to this and understanding this. How can folks get in touch with you?
And I was thrilled to help you on your film a long time ago.
Yes, I'm going to see if I can show it up, hold it up. Oh, you know what? I can't see it. Okay, there it is. Grazing Miss Albany.
Yes.
You were behind that. Yes. Yep. And it's still alive. It's still alive. Actually, the more I think about it, the more timely that script is today. So it's now, all right. So is that script, which we shot a scene, we qualified for 181, still alive for my investors?
Yes, it is, as long as you file the election on the first tax return that you filed for the movie.
Okay, so I know we did stuff way back when, then we shut it down, and so is it something that I can bring back?
Okay, well, when the time comes, we can do that. Okay.
Okay, great. Great. So I would love to help people get in touch with you. Do you want to share that information with me now, or can I post it on our website?
Yeah, okay. So I'll give you an easy email because my law firm's email is long. The easy email is corkykessler@aol.com. That's C as in Charlie, ORKY, then Kessler, KE, Sam, SSLER @aol.com, or calling me at any time at 312-925-2110, 312-925-2110.
And we'll post that on our website as well as on Facebook. There's a couple folks on Facebook. I don't know if they wanted to, oh, wow. Anybody want to throw out a question? Feel free to post it. I'll be able to see it there. All right. We'll give them a moment. Do you have anything else that you'd like to share?
Well, and under 181 or 168, you can spend 25% of your budget outside of the United States. And if you do your posts like in Canada as part of your 25%, you get another 6%. So now you're up to about 80 cents on the dollar.
Okay, that brings up a point. So tomorrow I'm going to have the folks from Boston Casting on, and the state of Massachusetts, I was going to say the state of Boston, but the state of Massachusetts has its own incentive. New York State has its own post-production incentive. Can you go or flip it around in any way, but can you shoot in, let's say it's a historical piece and it needs to be in Boston or somewhere in Massachusetts, can you then bring it back to New York for post-production, apply for the post-production state tax incentive, and on top of that, still get the federal 181 or 168?
Right. I know you get an extra push if you go upstate. That I know.
Yeah, for post-production and also for production.
Right.
But what I'm saying is you could do your post-production in a state like New York, and you could film it. Let's say your production is in California, or where are the hot tax incentives?
Well, yeah. Look. By the end of this year, I bet you I'll be grandfathering 20 to 50 films before the end of this year.
Yeah. So if you add up all these incentives, where you shoot it, where you post it, and the federal incentive, this does make filmmaking an attractive investment now more than ever.
Well, okay, and and I have the article that I could send to anyone who asks for it. The New York Times. This is in the New York Times because of the federal and the state incentives. The New York Times said investing in independent films today is, and get this, a conservative investment.
Yep.
The New York Times said that.
Which makes this a great time to consider this as part of your portfolio, particularly while you're waiting for the market to return. If you have the ability to choose, plus it puts people back to work or ready to be back to work when all this clears up later this fall.
Yeah, but did you ever think that the New York Times would say investing in independent movies is a conservative investment?
Yeah, I never did. I'm grateful. I called it the LA Times, I think, earlier in the show. But yeah, that's pretty remarkable.
So if someone in their package has got all that I said to grandfather, and then they have that article about a conservative investment. They can go to their friends to invest, and it's the only medium, film, television, and some theater, that you could wipe out or substantially wipe out someone's federal taxes. I've wiped out or substantially wiped out over 250 people's federal taxes.
Wow. And you're putting artists back to work by helping the production and the company.
So are there any questions?
I don't see any, but if there are, they'll be posted to Facebook, and we're gonna rebroadcast this, and we'll go from there. I'm certain that there are, and we'll also post your contact information. This is something that we didn't get a chance to promote widely. There are 4 or 5 people on listening to us, but I don't see any questions. So I want to thank you, Corky, for joining us on Check the Gate. Please give David Rubenstein my best. Great to see you both at Sundance.
And we can do this, and you can ask different questions whenever you want me to do this again.
That's outstanding. Thank you for being a friend of the Northeast Filmmakers Lab here in upstate New York. I want to wish you and everyone who's celebrating Passover starting tonight a healthy one.
Well, I wish everyone a happy Easter and a happy Passover, and I know that we're going to get beyond this, and if we continue to keep our distance and we wear masks when we're outside, we've got a better chance.
Absolutely. And we're all just dying to get back to work. So I thank you for taking time out of your day to join us from Chicago, Corky. Tomorrow, our guests will be Angela Perry and Lisa LaBelle of Boston Casting. This has been Mike Camoin and Corky Kessler. Check the gate. Our gate is good.
Well, I'm not going to speak